was just another Tuesday morning at JFK Airport. Flights delayed, passengers grumbling, security scanners humming with their usual mechanical indifference. The air smelled faintly of stale coffee and floor cleaner, and the distant echo of rolling suitcases blended into the low drone of overhead announcements. Then, without warning, a police dog lunged, not at a suitcase, not at a suspicious duffel bag, but at a tiny swaddled bundle, rolling silently on the baggage carousel. And what happened next? The entire terminal fell silent. No announcements, no footsteps, just 5 officers frozen in shock, and one newborn baby, completely unaware it had just become the center of an international mystery. This is not fiction. This is not a movie. This is real, and you're about to hear every chilling, heart-pounding detail, from the moment the dog first smelled something, to the second the world held its breath. Like this video if you're on the edge of your seat right now. Subscribe for more true stories that feel too crazy to be real. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Type your country name now. We're tracking where this story hits hardest. The terminal that morning was alive with the ordinary rhythm of travel. Businessmen checking watches, families herding children toward gates, tourists squinting at departure boards. Sunlight streamed through the tall glass walls, casting long shadows across the polished concrete floor. Near Carousel 7, a routine security sweep was wrapping up. Officer Marcus Daniels stood with his arms crossed, watching his canine partner Rex complete one final pass. Rex was a 7-year-old German shepherd, disciplined, sharp, and rarely wrong. He'd sniffed out narcotics in Miami, explosives in Chicago, and once even located a missing Alzheimer's patient in a parking garage. Today, though, something felt off. The air was calm, the crowd thin, the morning uneventful, yet Rex's ears twitched with unusual intensity as he approached the moving belt. Officers nearby chatted idly, sipping from paper cups, unaware that in less than 60 seconds everything would change. The carousel hummed softly, spitting out a black suitcase, then a red duffel, then nothing, or so they thought. The normalcy of it all, the quiet lull before chaos, made what came next all the more jarring. Rex stopped dead. His body tensed. His tail, usually relaxed during routine checks, stiffened like a steel rod. A low whine escaped his throat, uncharacteristic for a dog trained to remain silent unless signaling danger. Officer Daniels frowned. "Easy, boy," he murmured, tugging gently on the leash. But Rex didn't obey. Instead, he pulled forward with sudden, urgent force, his nose aimed directly at the center of the conveyor belt. Another officer chuckled. Probably smelled someone's tuna sandwich. But then Rex barked, sharp, insistent, almost pleading. Not the bark of aggression, but of alarm. That's when he lunged, not to attack, but to reach. His front paws stretched out midair, mouth open not to bite, but to nudge. And there, nestled between a navy roller bag and a crumpled shopping tote, was a small bundle wrapped in a soft white blanket with faint gray stripes. Tiny fingers curled against the fabric. A head no bigger than a grapefruit rested gently on its side. Eyes closed. Breathing slow and steady. A newborn baby, no older than 2 weeks, was riding the carousel like lost luggage. The officer's laughter died instantly. One dropped his radio. Another stepped back so abruptly he knocked over a plastic chair. Daniels froze, hand hovering near his sidearm, torn between protocol and instinct. In that moment, time seemed to stop. The world narrowed to one silent, swaddled infant, and the dog who refused to look away. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was suffocating. 1 second, the terminal buzzed with the usual chaos of travel. The next, it was as if someone had pulled the plug on reality. A woman near gate B12 gasped and clapped a hand over her mouth. A man dropped his coffee cup. It shattered on the floor, brown liquid spreading like a stain on the timeline of that morning. But no one moved to clean it. Flight attendants halted mid-stride. A janitor froze with his mop raised. Even the digital departure boards seemed to pause, their scrolling text hanging mid-update. Everyone stared. A mother clutching her toddler pulled the child closer, eyes wide with a fear she couldn't name. An elderly man slowly removed his hat, holding it against his chest like a prayer. A teenager filming on his phone lowered it, hands trembling too much to keep recording. The 5 officers formed a loose circle around the carousel, their faces pale, expressions shifting from disbelief to dread to something deeper, awe perhaps, or grief. One officer knelt beside the belt, gently checking the baby's pulse. "She's breathing," he whispered, voice cracking. Another radio dispatch, his words tight with emotion. We have a situation, a baby, on the carousel, alive, no parents. No tags, nothing." The dispatcher's voice came back skeptical. "Repeat that?" The officer swallowed hard. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." And then, from somewhere in the crowd, a single voice whispered, "Was it meant to be found?" Within minutes, the terminal transformed into a crime scene. Yellow tape cordoned off the area. Paramedics arrived but were held back until forensics could secure the perimeter. The baby, now wrapped in a thermal blanket provided by airport medical staff, was lifted gently from the belt. Her vitals were stable. Clean clothes. Fresh diaper. No signs of injury, malnutrition, or neglect. It was as if someone had prepared her for this moment with heartbreaking care. Investigators swarmed the carousel, scanning for clues. No luggage tag. No stroller. No diaper bag. No frantic parent running toward them screaming, "That's my child!" Surveillance footage was pulled from every nearby camera. Grainy but clear, it showed the carousel turning. And then, suddenly, the bundle appearing between two suitcases as if placed there from below or slipped through a gap in the system. But no hands. No figure. Nothing. A janitor recalled seeing a woman in a dark hoodie near the check-in counter 15 minutes earlier. Head down, shoulders hunched, carrying nothing but a small paper bag. She vanished before anyone could approach. Then, during the blanket inspection, a folded note was discovered tucked beneath the fabric. Written in neat, looping cursive on lined notebook paper, it read, "Please take care of her. I can't anymore." No name, no date. Just those 8 words, raw, desperate, final. The media descended within the hour. Headlines exploded. Mystery infant found rolling through JFK. Who left her there? Police dog saves newborn in airport miracle. Social media lit up with hashtags. Find her mother. Hope at JFK. Where is she now? And strangers from across the globe began sending letters, toys, and donations to the hospital where she'd been taken. The emotional ripple was immediate and profound. Nurses at the pediatric ward nicknamed her Hope before she even had a legal name. Within 24 hours, a GoFundMe campaign raised over $50,000 for her care. People wrote letters addressed simply to Baby Hope, JFK Airport. One read, "I lost my daughter last year. If I could hold yours even for a minute, I'd give anything." Another, "You are loved by thousands who never met you." Officer Daniels visited her every day after his shift, sitting quietly by her incubator, Rex lying patiently at his feet. In an interview weeks later, he said, "I've trained dogs to find bombs, drugs, weapons. Never a soul. Never a miracle." The lead detective on the case described it as the most haunting act of love I've ever seen. He explained that leaving a child in a public place isn't always abandonment. It can be a final, desperate act of protection. She didn't dump her baby, he said. She entrusted her to the world. She believed someone would care more than she could. And somewhere, in some apartment or shelter or bus station, a young woman watched the news with tears in her eyes, wondering if her daughter was warm, if she was safe, if she'd made the right choice by letting go. Despite massive public appeals, forensic analysis, and international cooperation, the mother was never found. No fingerprints on the note, no DNA traces beyond the baby's own, no matches in missing persons databases, no CCTV footage leading away from the terminal. The case eventually went cold but never forgotten. Experts have since pointed to similar incidents worldwide. A newborn left on a baggage carousel at LAX in 2018, wrapped in an airline blanket. An infant discovered in a Tokyo train station in 2020 with a note reading, "Forgive me." A baby girl found in a church donation box in Berlin in 2022, swaddled in a prayer shawl. These aren't random acts, they're cries for help disguised as surrender. Psychologists suggest that in moments of extreme crisis, domestic violence, poverty, mental illness, some parents believe public spaces offer their child the best chance at survival. They choose airports, train stations, hospitals, places where help is guaranteed to arrive. It's not neglect. It's a heartbreaking calculus. If I can't keep you safe, maybe the world can. And while we may never know who left Hope on that carousel, her story continues to echo. A reminder that sometimes the most profound acts of love look like letting go. If this story moved you, if you felt your heart skip a beat when Rex leapt, if you cried when you saw that tiny hand, then please hit that like button. It tells YouTube this kind of content matters. Subscribe, because we don't just tell stories. We uncover truths. We give voices to the voiceless. And we never stop asking what really happened. Comment your country name below. We want to know where the story resonated most. From Canada to Cambodia, Nigeria to Norway. Your reaction helps us understand how far this mystery reached. Sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about heroes. They're about those who dare to leave behind everything, hoping someone else will catch them. Hope is now 3 years old. She's healthy, happy, loved, and still waiting to meet her mother,